Are you looking for the hottest news out of the obstacle racing scene? Want to stay up to date on the freshest info, the latest podiums, and hear interviews with the who's who in OCR? Well, you've come to the wrong place. Well, some of that you'll find here. But we're not the media. This is not ORM, OCM, OCRM, ORCM. This is OCR Talk.
Hey, this is Jason Dupree.
And Anna Landry.
And this is OCR Talk episode number 45. This is the last one of 2019.
I like that we're ending it on a nice round number, like 45.
Yeah, last year it was like 23, I think.
Yeah.
So that's good. The year went well. This is really just going to be a quick wrap up recording of intro to the roundtable that you and I had with a few other podcasters just the other day. And what you may have already heard if you listened to I'm a Spartan podcast with Scott Knowles, he got it up already. We're going to post it up too, just so that it's got more places to be. But we did have a couple of things quick to talk about before we let you listen to our, hour and a half talk that we had.
Right.
If you haven't heard yet, I mean, if you listen to this, you probably have seen it, but we are now part of the OCR Report group of podcasters. Yeah, we're not going to call it a network. That's that other group.
Conglomerate.
Will Hicks has asked us to join for 2020, and we have actually already officially moved over to the Anchor, not the Anchor, the podcasting platform that they use. So we're no longer going to be actually on Anchor, and it's going to change some things. Like we're not going to have the same old ads that we had. My little ad for Anchor that we've had for forever. Yeah. I'm not sure what that's gonna really entail from here. Like we might get some legit advertisements like Mike and Caitlin have. So who knows? Who knows where it'll take us? But it'll definitely be interesting to see what 2020 brings. But I'm excited about joining their team just to have somebody else to other people to collaborate with on different things. Not that we didn't collaborate with people already, but now it's like we've got a go-to team of people to do so with.
Definitely. It's going to be a good year. Good stuff.
Before we do let into the roundtable, the only other thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that Battle Race has officially, announced their dates and everything, and like the sign up pages, everything. So
yeah,
we actually got codes for $10 off of Battle Race. And
Sweet.
If you've listened to us any in the past and you've heard us talk about Battle Race, but if you haven't, Battle Race is a OCR down in. Well, actually, is it even Battle Racer anymore? Is it called?
Yep.
It's Battle OCR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Battle OCR. It down in Louisiana, and he's been having these races for a few years. Didn't have one last year, but you may have seen his stuff at NORAM and OCR World Championships, the Adventure brands.
Mm-hmm.
The Dragon's Back type obstacle triumph, as they called it. So a lot of things, a lot of the builds. Yeah, Valkyrie was one of his. Sid Morris is the owner, race director of Battle OCR. So the stuff that he's been doing with OCR Worlds has been pretty cool. So if you enjoy that, then you should really try and get down there, because they have a pro heat, and then they've got regular open waves all day, and then they've got Warzone, which is their multi-lap option, which me and you like to do.
Yep.
So $10 off for Battle Race and Battle OCR. I keep saying Battle Race. And we are going to give away a free entry as well. So if you plan on getting down there, or if you would like to go and you would like an entry, we need a way for them to enter.
I think if anybody just plans on going, just hit us up, send us a message, something. Just let us know you're interested in going and what heat you want to run.
Actually, the code that I've got to give is good for any heat.
Any heat?
Yeah.
So shoot us a message with what heat you want to run. I don't know. And that'll be your entry.
That'll work. Yeah. So if you plan on coming, tell us what heat you want to run, and we'll put you into the drawing, and we'll do that sometime shortly after New Year's. But I'll say New Year's will be the cutoff, and
Yeah, and
um,
it's the actual date of the event is March
March.
6th and 7th.
Yes, 7th is the actual race, and I think they're having a team race or something Friday evening.
Yeah, I think they're having like an open house the Friday before or something.
Yeah. Yeah, they're having a few things going on. It's at like the same weekend as a festival at that venue or something. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
there's going
going
to
to
be a
be
lot
part
going
of
on
like a
there.
family South Louisiana family festival. So I think it's going to be like within that whole weekend.
Yeah. Cool. So hit us up with that, and
Were you planning on going?
I am definitely going, and I'm taking
You
my
are definitely
kids,
going. Nice.
and I'm going to run Warzone and see if I can,
You can
start
like take
dialing things
home the
in for.
W for me since I won't be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Hot take, I won't be there. So if any ladies want to run Warzone, and
Now's your time, ladies.
now is the time. If I do go, it'll be super last minute and no one's gonna know.
You pull a Morgan Mackay on us.
Exactly.
All right. I didn't really have anything else to say besides thanks everybody for listening all year. I wouldn't say our numbers have been crazy high or anything, but to me that doesn't matter. Like the people that listen, they reach out to us, they enjoy it, and if you, you the listeners are still enjoying it, then we're going to keep on doing it because we enjoy it. So
Definitely. So much
awesome.
fun.
Looking forward to another year.
Yep, this year is gonna be interesting for sure. I've got my sights set on some big goals.
Yep. It's cool stuff. So
Good
yeah,
stuff.
listen in coming up here, the roundtable, and you'll hear about our goals and all kinds of stuff between us, Scott, Knowles, Josh Chase, Mike Stefano, and me and you.
Yep. And shout out to Mike Stefano who did an awesome job. What is it? Hosting it? Not really
Curating.
hosting, curating it, curating the
Yeah, he
controlling the
picked the questions.
conversation.
Yeah,
So props to him.
awesome. Well, we'll get into it and see you next year.
Awesome. Have a happy and safe holiday, everybody, and a good new year.
Yep. My name's Jason,
And this is Anna,
and you might be right.
but you might be wrong too.
All right, welcome to the end of 2019, start of 2020 Podcaster Roundtable. So do we have every OCR podcast here? No? But I tried to pick my favorites and to keep it small enough so it doesn't get too crazy. So let's go around in order of who's here with your name and what podcast you're from.
In order of popularity, is that what you're saying?
Oh, snap.
Burn.
Started
Shots
off
fired.
right. So I'll start. My name is Josh Chase, one half of Obstacle Discourse with Davis and Chase, and since it is after 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Matt B. Davis is unable to attend. So I'll be here with all the hot takes in his stay. So
You got to do the voice.
yeah, welcome back or something of the sorts.
Okay, I forgot the order. So, but
You're next.
I'm
You're
Scott
next.
You go
Knowles
next.
from I'm a Spartan podcast, and I'm happy to be here.
Am I next?
And,
Whichever.
yeah, I guess we're next. Whichever.
Good. Good, Anna. I usually start. You go ahead.
Oh, I get to start this time?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And I'm Anna
Ooh.
Landry from OCR Talk. You can't see me right now because I'm recording this at work.
Do you have some top secret information behind you that we can't see?
Maybe.
Medical science.
Fair enough.
Medical science that you wouldn't comprehend.
That
I'm
lets
Jason
you-
Dupree. I'm Jason Dupree, and I'm from OCR Talk as well. Thanks for joining me.
Just made awkward eye contact with Jason when he said that.
Those beautiful blue eyes, that's what it is.
It's just intense.
I was going to comment on that. Jason's got a nice pair of eyes, man.
But I have to bring up the first thing you said was that nose ring's really big. Not his eyes.
Could you notice the eyes and particularly the eyelashes while I was running in a wetsuit?
No.
No. Everybody just really had a very fat face. Looked like I mean this in the best way possible. Everybody looked very
No, it's true.
swollen.
Everybody gets so swollen after
Yes.
by the end of that race.
And I'm Michael Stefano from Obstacle Running Adventures. Caitlin would be joining us, but she's sick and she is trying to spread her germs all over the house right now. So
Sweet
to do that. So let's get into some of the biggest things with 2019. So I know a lot of people have some feelings on this. The Spartan Elite qualification changes.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh, you want to start us off with that one?
Who all qualified?
Didn't everybody qualify?
Let the record show that Jason Dupree, Scott Knowles, and Josh Chase have their hands up.
I forgot. Speedy,
everybody except for me.
I snuck in there with a Long Island Sunday Sprint top 5 finish. I definitely poached my EQC. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's going to be an interesting year. I think 2019 was probably Spartan's most successful year, if I had to guess at it, just in terms of making a sport in the competitive side of the business. I don't know how they did bottom line wise, but that's not up to me to decide. So I'm looking forward to 2020 and what we're going to see, assuming that they can spell words properly on their medals and figure out a few other things. But I think, we might see some smaller elite waves, but hopefully that builds a little more competition between the individuals that we'll see over and over again, and maybe a little more competition in the age group folks for people that want to bump up to elite. But if I can do it, everybody can do it.
As long as you don't run with your significant other.
Right.
Scott, what are your feelings on it?
I guess at first I was thinking, the same thing Josh said. The elite heats are going to get smaller because of this. But I honestly think it's going to affect both heats. But the men's heat are going to be smaller. More people are going to run age group simply because of the fact that the age group pass, although it went up in price, the elite heat or the elite, pass, it's $1,300. I mean, so you got that. You got the $30, fee on top of that to qualify for elite. A lot of people that, the people that were probably like, placing 15th place that were never going to get on the podium, this is probably going to be the year where they say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to drop the age group, save money.
Yep.
And the women's heats, I mean, they were already looking, unless it was a series race, a lot of the women's elite heats were showing like at a no-show race where, they were having trouble getting 10 women in the heat. So, it's just going to get worse.
Yep. Jason and Anna?
Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I didn't race any Spartans this year, but I remember last year whenever I raced. Lame, you're lame. I think it was Austin. I think I ran in the elite heat for a sprint, and there was like 10 women in the elite group, and we were like, yeah, we all placed top 10. So definitely the women's heats could use some help. And like what you said, Scott, with the prices going up and the price of the elite pass, you buy the elite pass, but you still have to pay for the entrance for every race that you register for, on top of what you're already paying for. So yeah, you're definitely getting rid of all those people that are like, oh, I'm going to sign up for the elite heat because I want an early start. So you've already weeded out all those people, right?
Hopefully.
Well, for some, some people are going to say that it's a good thing that heats are going to be smaller. Like for the heats, they're good. Scott is showing off his terrain race shirt here. For the heats to be smaller, that's a good thing, right? Like we want, some people will say that for sure. I think I agree that the heat being smaller, it means that you earned your spot there. Like when I go to OCRWC or NORAM, a race like that where you have earned your spot, even if it's an age group, like that feels cool. It feels cool to have earned your spot. So I think it'll be good. Like, do we not want to see them be gigantic? We don't want to see them be gigantic, right? Because then you look at the guy who's 50th place, and it's like, oh, well, he was 3 hours in a super, but is that elite? So maybe we'll see just more like actual elite times instead of what we've been seeing. But it's going to make you're right, it's going to make a big impact on the age group So you're going to see a lot of times in the age group because they don't want to pay or whatever other reason, and those times are going to be faster than some of the elites still. But did they earn that spot where they should be in elite? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, but I think they are moving in the right direction. I think at the very least, hopefully there's less slow men that the elite women have to pass, because I think that is kind of bullshit how, like, you have Lindsay and all these amazing women that are just, having to pass all these guys that don't belong there in the first place. And I think also it's better for the sport. I don't remember who said this. It might have been you, Josh, one time where, like, you have some nobody leading for the beginning of, like, Tahoe. It's like, who is that? We don't know. And then, like, the rest of the race, it's actual athletes. But, like, it makes it look more professional that there is a pro heat now. So I am all for the change. But it should be interesting to see how it plays out in 2020. Staying on the topic of Spartan, how do we feel about the Trail Series? Because that was new for this year.
I feel like they're squeezing the trail in to just get, like, another thing out there. And so I was at 3 races, I think, where there was a trail race this year, like Palmerton. And Palmerton was, like, the first East Coast trail race that they had. So it obviously was huge. But it really was just everybody that already run the super or the sprint earlier in the day. So to me, I think, all right, the original intention is get trail runners, popular trail runners to come out and maybe move them into obstacle course racing. But, we saw at the Trail Championship this past weekend, you get Eric Gray, who's a world-renowned trail runner. So if you follow trail running at all, you probably know him. I guarantee 95% of Spartan racers have no idea who this guy is.
I didn't.
So, yeah. I don't – is it going to continue to be a thing? Sure. But I think it's just like – it's kind of like where Tough Mudder was 3 or 4 years ago, where they're like, hey, we got a 5K. Hey, we got a half. Hey, we got a full. Hey, we got a competitive wave. Like, here's 38 things. Pay for all of them, right? And we don't really know where the hell it's going. So, but – they say 2020 is going to be a big year for trail, so who knows? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a cool idea, but, I mean, if it's taken away from, what they're trying to do with obstacle course racing, maybe it's not a good idea. Kind of like same way with Tough Mudder in 2018 tried to do all this new stuff in 1 year, and come back on them at the end. But, I mean, from what I understand, the Trail Series has been – pretty good for them. So, and I see a lot of people doing it. A lot of people that would run on the Sunday races are choosing to run the trail race instead of the Sunday sprint. So,
yeah, the trail races could be a good addition to their repertoire, I guess. I don't know. I would do a Spartan race on a Saturday and do a trail on a Sunday if I didn't want to do, like, another shorter light version of their obstacle course on a Sunday. That would be kind of cool, especially if I was, like, training for something bigger later on in the year or something. But it's definitely exposed a lot more people, though, to obstacle racing and just that world, I think. So it's been good exposure for them. And then with them acquiring this mountain bike thing, like, are they heading towards, like, the world of adventure racing even beyond that? Like, who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I think if they're trying to do some just big corporation full of all these different types of races, then they're headed in the right direction. So maybe, I mean, and you also, as a business, you got to try something to grow. And since they're standardizing their races, how far can they grow in the Spartan race, the OCR race itself, the OCR itself, because it's getting standardized. It's going to be a single thing. They've saturated market. They got the most races out there. So maybe the trail race is just another way to expand. So if that's the case, then if they're trying it and it's working, it's bringing in the money that they're hoping for, then why not? But the people that go out to do trail races, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the trail race clientele or environment enough to say, like, are people tired of the trail races that they're doing right now and they're looking for something different?
Has anybody here run a trail race this year?
Yeah.
No.
I do trail races here and there.
No, but
a
like
trail
Spartan
race
trail.
or a Spartan trail
Spartan,
race?
no.
No.
My biggest thing, so being the only one that's run one, my biggest thing is it just seems like all they're doing is relapping the trail race like course onto a Spartan course. And for me, when I think trail race, I think actual running. I think not necessarily mountain climbing. Like you'll have elevation in a trail race, but it'll be mostly running. And I think it's difficult to take that out of a Spartan course and do it as like a separate entity. So to me, it's like, all right, well, I'm on the Spartan course. I'm just bypassing the obstacles, and they're calling it a trail race. So I don't think it's there yet. Like if they do a trail race on the same weekend with as a Spartan race, I'd want to see it on new terrain and new areas of the course that we haven't run already.
Well, they do take you off the course somewhat, right? Looking at the maps, they do take you off the course, and think about what a trail race is. Compared to other trail races, you are on trails typically, and from what we hear, there's a lot of fire roads and other standard paths that Spartan takes. Now, does Spartan take more fire roads than other obstacle courses? I don't know. That's maybe sometimes they do, depending on where they're at.
Yeah.
So is it a trail race? Is it comparable to other trail races? You've run one, Josh, so I guess you're the only one to say for sure. If Matt was here, he could say.
I have heard that the people that, it's not your normal trail race. Most trail races you go and do, it's a pretty cut trail. It's a popular trail that's been, run and pushed down, where as these Spartan trail races, they're more of a bushwhack trail. So in that sense, It is a more adventurous, different kind of trail race than normal, trail races that are out there, I would think.
Yeah, the one we did in Jersey was kind of a mix. It was the bushwhacking, off-road, mountain climbing Spartan race path you're used to, and then a bit of fire road and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a mix.
I also hear that a common complaint by people is the price difference. I've run a lot of trail races, and they're pretty cheap. How much is a Spartan trail? Do you know, Josh, offhand?
I want to say they start around like $60 or so. Just I'm shooting from the hip on that. I don't know off the top of my head, but definitely more expensive than a local trail race that you'll find, like a local trail 10K. I mean, the 3-day trail event that Molly runs, you can do up to like 100-miler, is like $40. So they're definitely on the higher spectrum of pricing in terms of compared to what else is out there. But you're getting obviously a lot more. Most trail races don't have medals, don't have headbands, don't have bag check, all that stuff. So I sort of get that.
Yeah,
I actually feel like that is pretty comparable to the ones I've run. Like when I think about a 10K, it's about that price. But then whenever I do look at like a 30 or 50 miler, those are over $100 easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say
the 100. Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So down here in South Georgia, I mean, like there's a half marathon race that I do every year, and it's $65. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just different locations or maybe there's just more trail races up north, but a lot of the trail races down here, I mean, unless it's like a 5K or something, most of them down here are about $50 and up.
I mean, New England's a pretty jam-packed area, so maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff up here.
Well, the trail races around here are relatively cheap. Even the ones in Louisiana, I've got a couple race directors in Louisiana that hold trail races. The 100-miler that I'm thinking about doing in a couple years is like, I don't know, maybe $120. But like the atmosphere, I mean, the atmosphere is like second to none. Just like the service that you get and the interaction with the race director and the interaction with the aid station, like they've grown it into where like they have the competitions between aid stations, like who can make like the coolest, funnest aid station. So it's become like sort of like that, where you have like these small trail communities in these states or in these towns, that kind of get together and put together their own little trail races. And to me personally, that would be more enjoyable than like going to like a big corporation like Spartan and doing a trail race.
Well, how are does the Spartan have aid stations? Because that's a pretty big part of road running and trail racing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would depend on
water
the distance,
stations.
Right?
Yeah, that's about it. Like,
So like the water stations that you would see at a race.
Right, exactly. So we ran 10K, I think, in New Jersey. Yeah, and we had one water station, maybe two water stations. Where you run a trail. And again, comparing sort of a different event, but you run a trail like 50K, you'll have these massive aid stations with oranges and pretzels and potatoes and soda, like all this stuff. So it definitely is a different environment. Whiskey, if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely whiskey. Fireball.
Well, here's a price in Texas. There's a race that goes. You actually, I think, start and go through a cavern towards the beginning of the race, and you have a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon, and the prices are $55, $65, and $90 for the half marathon. And that's a pretty unique one, so I would consider that a little high. So that's
pretty cool. I just checked the Palmerton 10K next year, which is in July, I think, and it's $54.99 right now. So comparable, I guess.
Okay, good to know. I always thought I thought it was more expensive than that, and I thought like, oh, you're paying for the name, but the name doesn't really mean much to trail runners, so I was confused about that. But no, it does make sense. Like, you get a cool medal, you get the swag that people love. So I guess it's comparable.
But yeah, you're talking about like full price to $54, right? I mean, and I'm sure that a lot of the people that are running the trail races, if they've never done a Spartan before, they probably are going to the website and paying full price. But for us that's been around the block, we know that you never pay full price for a Spartan race.
Right, and if you got a season pass, it's included. So
that's nice, yeah. So a couple other changes for 2020. They announced a new Ultra Series, also City Spartans. I admittedly don't know much about these City Spartans other than it's gonna be like a white medal. So what do you guys think?
They're trying to compete with City Challenge, probably.
Well,
City Challenge is too small.
If you believe Elvi from City Challenge, Spartan apparently tried to buy City Challenge from him, according to him. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But I think and again, we're just expanding our audience to an extent. Spartan, first off, can do nothing right in the eyes of its audience, unfortunately. Like, everything they announce is going to be met with people complaining. Both good and bad. I guess it means that people give a shit and they enjoy the sport, but they also are very offended by lots of things. But the city event, to me, I think local 5K, right? You might take New England. You might have some coastal city or New Jersey or something where you go run a 5K, you start on the boardwalk, you go run, you finish there. Everybody's got a big party. Spartan wants to cash in on that and say, hey, we've got the same thing. We're going to do this low-key event, kind of stadium-like. No mud, no huge climbs, no massive hills, like nothing to kill the average person that doesn't want to get into like big time mud run Spartan. So I think it makes sense. To me, that makes more sense than a trail race does for Spartan.
I agree.
So it'll be interesting. I'm waiting to see the medal, and I fully expect them to do a 180 and say we're going to do competitive waves at them, because as of right now, they're not going to. So.
This is Joe DeSena's idea, right? His favorite type of races.
I have no idea.
No mud. Yeah. Easy.
It's right up his alley.
Close to home.
The guy that just spent 2 days dragging a chain up a mountain in Vermont.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's what he did for the last 2 days with Yancey. So.
Didn't somebody say that he started having issues because he's been carrying that daggone
the kettlebell?
Yeah,
kettlebell around his entire life.
Yep.
His entire life.
You could have seen that coming.
Since he was a wee boy.
It makes me wonder if, since they're not going to do a competitive heat, are they not going to time it? And that way it can save them money too.
No chips.
So they're still going to time it.
On timing chips.
They are? Okay.
Yeah, they've said they're still going to have timing chips. It'll just be all open waves.
Yeah.
What's the point of timing?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can still compete at that point. But the other thing I'm wondering is, so we've also heard rumors of no competitive or no podiums and stuff on Sundays for other events too. So are they just looking to move these podiums and these hey, big moments to Saturdays when a meaningful audience is there? To me, if you got 6 people in a wave, like the elite women's wave, doing a podium for that, it's not that those girls don't deserve the podium for it, but I think it loses a little luster for them in some way. So yeah. So I don't know.
Well, if they're trying to make the elite wave more authentic or whatever, harder to get into, and then you take the Sunday event and you have an elite wave there too, and you're splitting your audience, and some people are going to cherry pick because there's less people on Sunday. If they take away the Sunday competitive wave, that makes sense, because then Saturday is the day. Like, if you don't run Saturday, then you lost your shot. So I can see that. That'd be good.
Yeah, it was like it used to be. You know, they didn't do cash payout on Sunday, Saturday race only. I think they won like a free race or something.
Yeah, that was not that long ago.
Yeah, was it 2017 maybe?
Maybe 16, something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So I'm kind of excited for this whole like city idea. It makes me think of have any of you guys run like Urban Raid back in the day when that was a thing? So they set up a course like in the heart of Boston, like you're climbing up right next to City Hall, and they did a fantastic job utilizing the city. And it's probably one of my favorite, most unique courses that I've done before. So I'm kind of got some decent expectations for that. Again, I do want to see the medal. It's a unique medal, so I want it. Same for trail. I haven't done trail yet, but I'll be doing that.
They're not thinking about lumping some of these stadium courses into the city series.
I don't think so. I think they'll keep it.
I don't think so.
Because it's going to be like a different color. Each thing's going to have its color, and this one's white, I think you said, right? Yeah.
I know it's been said before, but it would be pretty amazing to see stadium races be longer and go from like one stadium to another, or out the stadium around, the area. Yeah. I know that will never happen. That probably won't happen, but that would be awesome. Like Dallas is a perfect example because they've got the Cowboy Stadium and the Ranger Stadium right next to each other. Like, how amazing would that be to go into both?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
It's not out of the ordinary that happens in Philadelphia. You've got the 3 different sports teams in one area. In Baltimore, you've got the football and baseball stadiums right next to each other. It just is double the amount of money to rent.
Sure.
Two
but it would be
huge
cool,
venues.
Right? Yeah.
I wonder how much they have to pay to rent like a stadium to do that.
I can't imagine.
Of course.
And
Their
ungodly
park's not
amounts.
cheap.
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
That's why Stadium Blitz is at all these college stadiums and not pro stadiums.
Yeah, they probably get it for free.
Yeah.
So another big thing that happened in 2020, Warrior Dash went under. So I think a lot of people seem to care a lot, and now we're to the point where everyone's like, it's probably for the best. They haven't been great in the past few years. Do we all agree with that, or?
I believe. Sorry, Josh, you're first. Go ahead.
No, continue on.
Okay, I believe Anna and I, we talked about it, and I said my personal feelings. When I did my last Warrior Dash, I traveled for it in, 16, 17, somewhere in there, and I was like, not doing any more of those. I mean, just for myself, I've just gone to so many harder and longer and better events that it was just like, this is not worth it at this point. Now, for beginners, I could still see it being worth it, but for myself, it was not, and I couldn't support the quality of event that I saw either.
Yeah, and I think it's like they're in a unique space where you got Rugged Maniac in the same space, you've got a Spartan Sprint in the same space. There's only so much room in the sandbox, sadly, and I think they're also owned by a company that was more hyped about doing events and festival type things than running the logistics of building things and all this stuff. So I just think it wasn't a very good fit. Not that it wasn't a successful company, because I don't think that's really why they shuttered the operation. I think it wasn't as, it's not like there wasn't another option for consumers out there. So,
priorities. And
I haven't done a Warrior Dash since I think 2014 or 15 maybe.
Same.
One I did was great, muddy, fun obstacles, big slides, that kind of stuff. But not, I need a little more in my life.
Yeah, I think it was just a more sentimental thing whenever they went under, because I think that's pretty much whenever everybody that's obstacle racing now, whenever everybody first started, that's pretty much the only race that was in that space. We didn't have Rugged Maniac back then, or at least I didn't know about it back then, like 2013, 14, whenever it was. So like that was the first thing that I did was a Warrior Dash. So I think it was a more sentimental thing for everybody. Like that was the one race you could convince all your friends to go to, because you could like drink beer with them afterwards and and wear ridiculous hats and whatever. But yeah, I think I did one more after my first one, and then I was like, I'm ready to move on from this.
Scott, have you ever run one?
Negative. So I guess I really don't have an opinion on the matter. I mean, you hate to see an OCR company go down at this day and age. But from what I heard, it wasn't the best event, and a lot of people. I think Matt had always said, that it could be a rugged maniac, and they chose to not let it be that. And to me, I mean, rugged's great. I mean, it's just challenging enough, and it's got enough fun obstacles where I would always do rugged a Warrior Dash from what people tell me.
The last Warrior Dash that I ran, one, I got yelled at twice by not doing the obstacles correctly. They said I was supposed to crawl on something instead of running across it, which if you saw the obstacle, it made no sense.
What obstacle? The mats across the water?
Magic carpet ride, yeah. They're like, you're supposed to crawl.
Yes,
the whole
premise is
what?
The whole premise is you run fast enough to not fall in the water.
Right.
So that happened.
Screw those guys.
Our start was delayed
those guys.
by 45 minutes because they didn't have enough ambulances at the venue. During the crawl through like the really dark thing, I pulled out like a huge nail. And there's one other big thing.
My.
It was just a terrible, and like things.
This is a rugged?
No, this was Warrior Dash.
Warrior Dash.
The last Warrior Dash that I ran, and they had like that big thing with
Mike's dying.
Warrior Dash helmet, and it was falling apart. I'm like, this is just embarrassing.
The best thing about
I was
this,
only
we
going to
can
return
talk.
to last year, one because there's like 10%, but
We can talk all kinds of shit about Warrior Dash, and we can't get sued.
that's
Yeah.
true too.
Hey,
Yeah. In my last episode, I told him, like, I said, like, there's no real reason to do this anymore. And I'm not shocked that they've gone under. I'm really not. It is a bummer that it was midway through the season. I think that's extremely unfair.
I never got one of the hats.
Yeah, they should have
They
at least
suck. Who cares?
finished through their big 10th year and then said, hey, we're done.
I got a couple hats. I'll bring you one to Jacksonville, Scott.
Yeah, there you go.
Sweet.
So another big race brand. I was hoping Heather would be here because this was a big topic last year. But Tough Mudder is big, taking away prize money, which we'll get to that in a bit. But they said that they were doing that to step up their venue experience. So has anyone noticed a difference with this year's Tough Mudder venue experience in the festival area compared to last year?
I'd say, yeah, if they've reshifted that money to a different place, it showed.
Yeah.
Like their events were really good, and there was just a lot more going on in the festival areas for sure.
Has anyone else done any Tough Mudders?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Even for the regular Tough Mudder classics, like the one we did in College Station, Jason, were you there? Yeah, you were
Yeah.
there.
Well, we did tougher, and
Yeah.
people complain because they're not keeping track of who's completing what obstacles. It's just not
Right.
being the elite wave is not being quality controlled. But who cares? It's there's 20 people running that thing, and it's the money is going to. It's more than 20, Scott. I saw your eyebrows go down. There's several people running it, but the majority of the place where the money got shifted to is the rest of the day. I mean, that's the first crowd that runs through. That's the people that want to run first anyway. That used to run first before they got the competitive wave because they were the people. That first wave was always the world's toughest wave. So you would see people with their bibs, you would see people with the 25-time headbands, and they were the people. That was the crowd that knew each other.
Yep.
And they shifted the money or they did competitive waves, and then those people got upset. They're like, well, now we can't run first. We got to pay more to run first. And then they shifted to, okay, we got the competitive wave, but then we got a wave right after called First Mud. And then you get in that wave by paying a little bit more. And so the rest of the day, I mean, you got 9 o'clock all the way to 3 o'clock or whatever that they've shifted money to the focus of making those people's event and experience better. So good job.
Yeah, I think it was a success too. I'd have to agree because the Tough Mudder events that we went to this year, they were all very enjoyable. Like just to even stick around and hang around the race festival, which usually I don't like to do. I just like to just go run and leave. But
yeah, from experiences of when I was there just to do media and then run a much later heat, it was fun because I had a whole bunch of games out there. The DJ was having a lot. I mean, it's not quite Savage Races level, but they had some great games going on, and I really thought it was much, much better than last year. So I was happy to see that. And speaking of prize money, World's Toughest Mudder prize money. I think there's a difference between taking away toughest money, but World's Toughest Mudder prize money. Do we think it's going to come back next year, and should it?
I think it should.
I bet they go another year without it, and then go from there, because I think, in terms of sample size, just looking at the people that showed up, like this is like their second least amount of attended events. Like, so I think they've got to build the hype around the event, which I think they did a great job this year. Like, I've always followed World's Toughest Mudder, but going there was a completely different story of what kept me kind of interested in it. So I think they've done a good job of building the hype and the excitement around the event. Next year, they need to ride that pony and still continue that trend, and then bring back, prize money, or, if they do some small prize money, that's good, but you're not going to get a Ryan Atkins until you're going to dump 20 grand onto this event, right? So, I think if you're strapped for cash, which I don't know if they still are, they probably are still watching the bottom line, but do it again. New locations are automatically going to get a ton of new people. Yeah. I think they suffered after Atlanta in 2018. Mm-hmm. So I think the move to Dallas is going to be a good move, and I think right off the bat they're going to get probably a couple hundred more people just on that move alone.
Yeah, just on the new location alone, they're going to get a lot of new people showing up to WTM. And next year being their 10th anniversary, I think they might focus more on that, especially with their events, and making their events even better experience with what they were successful with this year, and then bringing that into next year. So yeah, I really don't think they're going to bring prize money back to WTM. I agree with Josh. They probably will not do that for another year, at least.
And look at the group that came. You still had 3 people hit 100 miles. You had the women fighting hard just as usual, and there was no prize money. Nobody cared. If you brought it back, like maybe Ryan Atkins would come back and win every single time. I mean, is that exciting? Like, yes, we would all love him to be there, but will it make a difference for the overall event? I don't know.
You got to think, too, that Spartan Ultra Championships has really played a part into cutting into admission to both sides, really. You know, of who's going to WTM and who's going to Sweden or wherever they're going to have it next year.
That's a good point. I hope they bring it back eventually. I can understand if they don't bring it. They made a big deal about, like, oh, all this money's going to charity, so it's tough. Like, do you want to take from the charity? I would want to see more money out there for the elites, because
I agree.
Would be sharing the course with them. I wish Rhea was out there. I wish Atkins was out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great sharing the course with Trevor and Chris and Aaron and all them, but, like, the more people there, the better. And how many events do you get to share the course with them instead of them running first, and, like, you get to cheer them on and then you run? To be able to share the course with people, I think, is what made World's Toughest Mudder so special to me. But I hope it comes back eventually. I guess that's the big thing with that. And just like you said, Scott, they do need to kind of compete with Sweden, with wherever the Ultra Championships is now, because Spartan's getting all the big people now because they have the money. So it's tricky.
I'm sure that Atkins and Rhea would have much rather ran in Atlanta than Sweden too.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, they went and ran in Fiji for 8 days or whatever.
That's true. Atkins, I think, loves that, so you never know.
Crazy.
I mean, when they've done the kind of event like Worlds as many times as they have, I mean, can you blame them for looking for something new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bracken made a comment earlier this. Getting distracted by these awesome backgrounds.
How are y'all doing that?
I don't know, but
pure boredom.
Jason is now a
donut.
I'm the donut.
I just had a whole pizza and now I'm hungry again. But earlier this year, Bracken made a comment on Obstacle Dominator before he left.
Rip.
The difference between obstacles and tasks. So I feel like certain obstacles, like the spear throw at Spartan Race, that's more of a task than an obstacle. Do we think that there's ever going to be, like, a course correction and trying to stay towards more of the obstacles than boring tasks to do in a race? Or where's that line?
I
But
think.
wouldn't that be a Ninja Warrior course then?
Well,
Sure.
I mean, really,
sort of, but I think
sort of.
Bracken has a mindset that races should only be designed for elites and pros, and that nobody else really matters. And that's not a dig at him, but and I get why he has that opinion because that's the space he's in. But to him, it's like not everything has to be catered towards your side of the industry. In fact, to me, to be honest, completely the opposite. Spartan could definitely do with some harder obstacles, and I think if they had harder obstacles, that conversation is null and void. The spear throw, I think, is going to be around. Yeah, the spear throw it's going to be around forever, but it's going to be the throwback to what Spartan was way back in the day. So when in 5-10 years from now, when we have some completely different Spartan. Weird Jason Dupree baby head going on there.
I'll stop.
A completely different look and feel to Spartan. The spear throw is still going to be there, and it'll be like this beck and call of ages past for Spartan. So, you know what, Bracken? If you don't like it, learn how to throw a spear. Like, I'm sorry.
Josh wants Spartan to bring back the gladiators, I think.
They were supposed to. What the heck happened to that?
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
they made that promise. I'm going to have to go dig up the video that Joe brought that up in.
You're going to have to hold Joe to that.
Totally
with him with that chain he dragged up the mountain.
Yep.
Spartans.
One thing I don't like, and I understand that they are trying to standardize everything and they're making the sprint, the entry level race. And I get that, it's the easiest one for, everybody doing, which may be their first obstacle course race. But from the competitive side, and like I know they're catering to the open heats. That's where they got to because that's where the money's at. But when you're running a competitive heat in a sprint, and the only thing out there is a rig and monkey bars and a spear, the only thing that's probably going to get failed is the spear.
Yep. Yeah, they got to.
Unless it's wet, but yeah, if it's dry.
Unless it's wet, yeah.
I almost think that next year we see things like Twister and Olympus move into sprints, at least for like the national series. I don't see any reason if we're going to go all the way down to Jacksonville to run a Sunday sprint, why they can't have Olympus there, why they can't have Twister there, because it's going to be on course from the Super the day before. So bring it to the national series. If anything, these pros are all asking for harder obstacles, and the open waivers, they're going to skip it if they want to skip it. They're going to do it if they want to do it, and they may or may not do their burpees if they try it and fail. Whatever. It's like, have it there, and okay, you just appeased half of your audience. So
Right, even just a shorter version of it. I remember going down to Florida and they had like shorter versions of Olympus and Twister, I think, in one of the Florida races because it was like at the end of the year. So it wasn't like a national series race or anything, but I mean, we still went down to Florida and ran, I think, the Beast and the Sprint or something like that. And they had just a shorter, easier version of it, not quite as long.
I'll take a section Twister any day.
Yeah.
We've heard suggestions from pros even to say, take a bell and put it at the end of a 3-section or 4-section rig and then move it after the elites go through. So they have less sections.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do need to I think they need to make some changes like that. I haven't been able to do Twister in a while because I've been only doing sprints. So maybe I need to change up the races that I do, but it would be nice to see more interesting obstacles at sprints as well. Because
Mike, when you do Twister, do you get through one section?
I've done Twister once. So, and I got through one section. Yeah, I think I fell.
Oh, you've only had a chance to do it once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to do it again just to see if I can do it.
Right, you might just need more practice. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. So.
I miss the black grips.
Really, you like them?
I heard mixed things about that. I heard it rotated with them though.
I did, yeah, but it didn't tear your calluses up. And when it was raining, you had so much more grip on those when it was raining.
Yeah.
That Twister in Dallas this year and in Florida, like Florida, once the sun came out and that thing got like 110 degrees, it just shreds your fingers.
Oh man, it was bad in Florida.
The metal actually hot?
Well, it's hot.
It's
it
dry.
just gets it gets dry and sticky, and when you transition off of the thing, it takes your skin with it.
North American Championships has taught me that I'm a complete baby as soon as I rip my hands open. So
I don't care who you
that
are,
stuff
man.
hurts, man.
Once those things are open, it's torture.
Oh, terrible.
We got to all invest in some of them Franklin gloves.
Yeah.
Franklin glove? What's a Franklin glove?
It's the Fit
The new
2020
brand.
version of Fit 4.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
They just
Like
straight up
Walmart
stole
brand.
Fit 4's design and
Oh, yeah, those. Okay.
So a big topic last year was we talked about whether or not OCR related TV shows help the sport. The Titan games came out. Did anyone watch it?
I did.
Titan games? I did.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. How was it? I love The Rock, but I had very little interest in it.
The show itself.
I only watched a few
Go ahead, Anna.
episodes. No, I only watched a few episodes because Chris was on the show, so I only watched like her episode.
I did watch the whole thing, and Anna, we actually talked about it a good bit. The show was cool. There was a lot of cheese to it. I mean, it's a television show. You're going to get that. But the competition itself, while the obstacles or the competitions were neat, I didn't like how they had like two brackets of people, and then these two people did one obstacle or one challenge, and then these two people did a completely different challenge. So your strength here might have worked, but your strength might have been against you in the first competition, and it completely, screwed you.
Good to know.
But the show itself was okay, and I just, if you don't like all the cheesy parts, skip through them. But the competitions were good.
Yeah, the challenges looked like fun. Like they looked like a lot of fun to do. And I think the way they paired up the competitors was really well done. But yeah, I mean, I thought like the challenges just catered to whatever the competitor's strengths were, and so it wasn't really. I don't know if they were actually like really competing against each other. If you cater to each person's strengths,
Well, think of a similar show, Steve Austin, where you were competing down a bracket to get to the end. Everybody did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So you made it to the end. You couldn't complain, oh, I got into this competition, but I wasn't strong, even though I'm fast. But because everybody had to do the same thing. So
yeah.
And then another big one. Well, another one. $1 Million Mile. I watched 3 episodes of that. I watched it solely because people that I get to see on at races, like VJ Jones and all that, were doing it, and so I
liked it.
I didn't like the narration of it.
Yeah, it was Tim Tebow ruined it.
He did. Everything else, I loved everything except for that. Though.
The fake hype, the paid audience, like
every
the
show's
audience.
got some fake host, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean the premise of $1 Million Mile was awesome, and I would love the chance to run $1 Million Mile as like a contestant. But the execution and the lack of like relatable host just I'm hyped up, you're hyped up, let's get going. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
The premise and the competition was pretty cool, but it just as a television show, it was not enjoyable to watch. It didn't, even though they tried to build these moments of like, oh my God, are they going to make it? I don't know, but it just, the way they cut it was garbage, and it didn't pan out to make it exciting.
That was terrible. The only reason why I watched that show was to see, like Mike said, people that we see on the obstacle courses, on the courses.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I watched it.
Yeah, I think that's what made it good to pretty much us. We just wanted to see the pros go, in a show like that. And I mean, I guess that's probably what I like about it the most, really. But I mean, it wasn't that bad. I would love to see Hunter chase down Josh and talk shit when he passes.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be all about
that I would watch. That I would totally watch in prime time.
Maybe we can organize that at the Jacksonville Sprint. Like he gives
Set
me
that
a
up.
5-minute head start.
He'll
Did
be
you
there.
see where he's trying out for the Titan games? He had something on his Instagram about it.
Oh yeah. Are they doing more of it?
Yeah, they're having another
I
season.
think so.
Well, I don't think $1 Million Mile is getting another season though, because I know the ratings were so bad that they moved
they
the timing
change?
of it. Yeah, and then they moved other shows earlier.
Yeah, less than 2 weeks before they relegated it to Friday, and then
Yeah, it was so confusing when it was on.
They did show the whole thing eventually, but yeah, they pushed it back. to a weird time.
A little bit
Now,
of death rattle there.
I know it wasn't this year. They didn't have a season this year, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about Ultimate Beastmaster that was on Netflix, even though it had some OCR people on it.
You are the only person I know that talks about that show, and I feel like I need to check it out.
I've never seen
sounds
it.
awesome.
It's good, man.
Before I heard it from Jason.
Yeah, it's Sylvester Stallone as a producer, so he's in it for like a second, and but its hosts were actually pretty dang funny, and I think one of the hosts on a second season was CM Punk, and he surprised me with how well he did. But their hosts were a blast to listen to, and the competition had some cheese to it, but it was still like the course itself was tough, and you would see some people like how did they some stuff that was like, man, how did they not get past that? That was too easy. But
am I the only one that watches some of these and I was like, how would these obstacles are not hard? Like, it should be so much easier. But then I'm sure if I'm in that position, it'll be totally different. But
with a spotlight.
Yeah,
right. Some of the beginning competitions or obstacles were super simple, and some people failed on those. But then you have people like Ken Corigliano who, made it through multiple things and did really well. And the people that got through the end, I mean, they were serious, mostly climbers, like rock climbers were the ones that did really well in that show.
Yeah, those are the guys that usually excel in all of these. Ninja Warrior, they're all rock climbers.
Yeah.
Yep.
The hosts from the different countries, though, on Ultimate Beastmaster was probably the most entertaining thing to watch whenever they're all like screaming and cheering on their athletes or whatever.
They would yell at each other and stuff. Yeah.
It's probably the most entertaining part of the show.
And do we think that these shows are helping direct people to the sport more? For us?
It's television. I mean, those people are sitting down watching television. They're not doing anything else.
Yeah. I don't think the fans of Ninja Warrior are going to throw up Ninja Warrior obstacles in their backyard or go run their local competition at their gym. So it's more an entertainment piece, and if anything, it's brand recognition, but it's not driving numbers to the front door, I don't think.
Yeah, it's made for the masses, not for the athletes, for sure.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah,
like we watch it because we enjoy it. Yeah, we watch it because we enjoy it, but if you didn't know about it, would you go do? I mean, how many things on TV have you seen and been like, I think I'll get into that?
Yeah.
I don't watch American Ninja Warrior.
If
you've seen one episode,
Boston,
you've seen them all.
Yeah.
I
If
agree.
bring Ninja Warrior to Boston, I'll totally do it. But
I mean, I did start collecting Ninja Turtles because of the cartoon, but
Me too. I stole some too. Hot take.
I stole some Star Wars characters, and I got caught, and then they told my parents.
I
I
stole
thought
a
you were
book.
talking about recently, Josh.
I got busted on the Transformers. That's the ones I got caught stealing.
I stole a Darth Vader, and they caught me. It was at a Bradley's, if you remember a Bradley's back in the day.
No,
I stole a Barney book when I was little.
Christ.
Went all the way to the car.
how old could you, like on purpose?
Yep. When I was
Like, I
very
know
little.
that I should pay for this, but I'm not.
No, I did before. I think so, but I brought it to the car. My mom found out. We walked right back to the store. It was probably like 12 or something. She found the manager, and she made me apologize to the
Oh,
manager
man.
of the store. And guess who hasn't stolen a damn thing since?
No.
You should learn your
Nothing that
lesson.
I can buy, like street signs and all that fun stuff. That's all fair game, but like not in stores.
I'm sure there had to be an episode on Barney where he talked about how stealing wasn't right.
Let me tell you a story about a kid named Mark.
All right, so
Too funny.
the last few things I wanted to wrap up with is 2019 goals that we had and 2020 goals to shoot for. Let's get them out on the record to really push ourselves. So I remember that I listened to last episode, so Josh was there, Heather was there. So my goals were to train more and get less injuries. I think I got that. I also wanted an OCR age group podium, but I didn't end up running any competitively, so that's a big no. World Service mileage, I had said that I wanted 55 miles. I guess Javier told me that I should get 65, so I'm going to count that as kind of a win. And I also wanted to do a handstand, and still can't do a handstand. So
You're doing a headstand right now.
yeah, I am. For those listening, I flip my camera upside down, and I can't fix it.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Caitlin's goals were to run a half marathon and not come in last. So she did that. And she also said that she was going to do 12-hour toughest in Philly, which she did not do. Now, Josh, I don't know if you remember, but you said that you were going to try and beat your 50K record. You said your record was around 7 hours and 40 minutes.
Yep.
Did you do that?
Nope. Ended up dropping out of my 50K because I was having hamstring issues.
What was your time at Dallas?
9:04, something like that. So not all of us are 6-hour ultra beasters. Knowles.
You also talked about how you wanted to podium in your new age group, 40 to 44.
Yeah, I think I said like a top 10 finish, but it became pretty clear that was very achievable. I think I got that like in San Antonio.
Awesome.
Yeah, you did.
So like my best finish was 5 in Long Island. So
Awesome.
good. I had a couple 6s, a 7, a 9, and 8. So next year I think it'll be a little harder. But we'll see. I think I still have the same goal of a podium in 2020.
And you also had one final goal, which I think you really did well with. You wanted to build an OCR community on this little thing called Discord.
I think that was generally successful. We got well over 500 members and like probably 40 of them that are actually active, like any Facebook group that's out there. But I'll spare you all the advertisements because I do it all the time on our podcast. But yeah, I think we got a good community of people and some inside info from some good staffers that are on there as well. So
I don't know if you've noticed, Josh, but for every episode that I put out, I always have a link to it, and I write something unique every single episode. Just have fun with it. And Heather's goals, real quick, I know she's not here. She wanted to release an episode every week. She wanted
hard.
to, yeah, it is.
that is hard. That's a lot.
It is. She wanted to get at least 65 miles at World's Toughest Mudder. She did that. She wanted
She
to
got
do
60.
Yeah. She got 60? I thought she got
Yeah.
65.
Well, she was going for 75.
That's what I thought.
So
But she spent 4 hours outside in the pit in the tent.
yeah. So as of January
bummer.
last year, she said that she secretly wanted 75, but she was telling people she wanted 65. But yeah, that did change a bit. She said she wanted to do well at Toughest Midwest, get in top 10 Spartan when there's more than 20 elite women there, and get another age group podium. So
A lot of goals.
right, yeah. So if we want to go around, get on record of our goals for 2020.
Ooh.
2019, I didn't really have any goals because I came off of, crazy issues in 18, and then 19 kind of just riddled with more different issues, but nothing that was debilitating like it was in 18. But so I just went into this year not really having any goals and just kept running and having fun and really enjoyed it. Like going into Worlds was, what's my goal after 50? Well, 75, but I didn't get there, but it was a good learning experience. And honestly, after 17 this year, after doing 60 miles, I have a goal of 75. And I think how we talk about having achievable goals. And I know Ryan Atkins talked about it. Evan Paris talked about it. Like having a goal in mind that it's slightly out of reach, but it's not insane. For me to say I can run 125 miles, that would be insane. But for me to say I had time to hit 65 and I need 2 more laps to do 75. So that's pretty achievable. And so to just kind of push it just a little bit more each year is nice because as far as endurance running goes, that's kind of how your body grows anyway.
Yeah, and I think, when I look back at everybody's kind of progress at World's Toughest Mudder, this is interesting because all of my training is going to be around short, fast races like sprints, supers. Getting better at beasts is a goal because the longer the distance, the worse I get in terms of position. That's just the way I race. But then I have World's Toughest Mudder. So it's like I would love to go in there and get 50 miles, which to me sounds achievable. It'll be the longest distance I've ever done if I do it by a long shot. But then I look at some people have gone in their first year with that goal and been like, I got 30 miles because that thing kicked the shit out of me. And there's a lot of unknowns. Like I'm doing Toughest Philly just to,
That'll help.
figure some stuff out. So my goal is 50 miles at World's Toughest Mudder. If it's only 35, I won't be disappointed in that. For me, it's get out there, get as many miles as I can to start the day, and then survive the rest of it. It's pretty much how it's going to go. So And then beyond that, just keep on running. I think 2019 was my best year of running, but it definitely, towards the end of the year, it definitely slowed down. So just keep on moving. Ain't getting any younger.
As someone that got 50 miles on his first try, I will say it is doable. It's mainly mental, though. I think you'll find that most of the people that only got 35 miles, there was a issue of them spending too much time in the pit. If you go out there and you're at least walking every lap, I walked the majority of it and I got 55 this year. It's just a lot of picking yourself up and throwing yourself out in the course. But I think it's totally doable. And,
Josh, as many ultras as you've done, I don't see you have any issue with it as long as you can stay on course.
Yep.
Yes, stay on course.
Yep.
That was my issue.
It's tough. It's not easy, but that's what you got to do. It's tricky. Scott, do you have any goals for 2020?
Not really. I'm just going to go out there and kind of just do the same thing I did this year. Just go to every race and try to do your best. Probably going to do the Killington Ultra again. So even though I said and
haven't learned your lesson, huh?
Promised.
I would just like to point out that Scott crossed the finish line, and before his second leg was even over the finish line, he's like, "I am never fucking doing that again."
You said that the first year too. I was there for that. I
did. Well, my buddy Michael, he something happened to him, and he got in bad way, and he didn't get to finish, so he wants revenge, and I'd feel left out if I didn't do it too.
You need to make sure he signs up, though, unlike your other friend who you came for revenge this year and never
right?
Showed.
Yeah. He's supposedly already signed up because he's coming back this year too. So 2 of my buddies are wanting revenge, so I'd hate not to do it if they're going to do it too. It's just, I don't know what it is about that course, but after the pain wears off, I mean, it's such an adventure. But when you're doing that course and you remember everything from the first lap and you're thinking, crap, I still got to do that again. Then I got to do that again. And it's just that course is good about putting demons in your head. So
it's an abusive relationship is what it is.
It is.
I'd like to point out that I have no regrets skipping the beast this year. I think it was the best decision I made.
Yeah. And someone else that just ran the Killington Ultra for the first time and fell in love with it, Chris Mendoza. One of his favorite courses. And he said objectively it is harder than Tahoe because he said he ran Tahoe on tired legs and finished much quicker than he did for Killington. That's a crazy, crazy course.
I think everybody should do Killington at least once.
Yes.
That place is awesome.
It is. It's beautiful. And you should go to Ben and Jerry's factory after. People.
Well deserved.
Oh, yeah.
My 2020 goals don't really revolve around distance goals except for Worlds. But it's really more around just the races that I get to do. So myself with a wife and 2 kids, Anna's, I think, in the same boat, and that's probably why we make good co-hosts because we relate a lot in the fact that we've got to pick and choose. And Scott, Ultra, you got a Spartan pass, so you can get to do as many Spartans as you can get to, and that's cool, but I can't do that. I've literally got to pick one a month, and unless something like comes up and I've got nothing going on for a weekend, I can go to something close by. So that might happen for Spartan San Antonio, but for the most part, it's just I want to do races that are unique and that I don't get to do often, or the ones that I love the most. Like, going to try and go to, or am going to Ragnar, Colorado. I've done one Ragnar before. It was a blast. Colorado sounds fun. I love Colorado.
And everybody gets to come visit me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna coach. I'm not coach. I'm gonna be the leader for that one. Whatever. And
captain.
The captain. Yeah, I'm gonna be team captain for that one because when I did it, I kind of took over for a moment when the guy was off on course chasing after some girl. But so that sounds fun too. So that's what it is. It's really more just like trying to find new experiences instead of trying to reach a mileage goal.
I just want to add, y'all that are doing this, that y'all have kids, my hat is off to y'all because if I had kids, just the stress of having kids, I don't think I would have the ability to function to train. And I know I'd be eating all their junk food if it was in my house too, so I'd probably be as big as
all the chicken nuggets and Kraft mac and cheese and
cereal.
There's still Halloween candy sitting around.
Yeah, no, I got rid of the Halloween candy. I give it a week and then it's out of the house. But yeah, I did, Scott. I did have a year where I traveled a lot for races because I was spending obscene amounts of money on races and traveling, and it did take a toll on like my relationship with my kids, and I was kind of sad about that. So like that's why the last couple of years, like I seriously backed off from it because I was like, I can't I can't do this. I can't like keep leaving my kids with like my mom or something, it's like such an extra step to
and not just the races, but also the time training.
Exactly. Just the time to train, and then like the toll it takes on you afterwards. You're just so whooped that it's just like you don't even have fun anymore because like your family's not happy, and when your family is not happy, you can't be happy. Like I got into this to inspire them and to be an example for them. And what good is it if I'm never around?
Yeah,
that's right.
So
I mean, I saw a long time ago somebody posted a blog about quitting obstacle racing because it took away they put too much into it and took away from the rest of their life, and the balance that you have with it all. We talk about it all the time, and me and April actually want to do an episode that just talks about that, and it's huge. I mean, anything that you do, if you put too much into it and it's detriment to the rest of your life, you're going to stop probably. So to continue to do this thing that I love, I have to cut back and I have to force myself to focus in other areas so that I can do this and still enjoy it.
Yeah, and it becomes a conversation too with your partner. Like you have to have that conversation about, hey, these are my goals that I want to do this year. Like, do you think this is even feasible with the kind of schedule that we have and the kind of lifestyle that we have? Is it going to be doable with all the other schedules that we have to manage,
and the things that you want to do,
right?
And
exactly.
are important to you.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's just the tricky part of it. But
I say you, I mean when you're talking to them,
right? Yeah, I get it. But that's probably like a good segue into my goals for next year, because I'm not traveling as much for races. I mean, like I just moved to this beautiful state and I've hardly gotten a chance to explore as much as I've wanted to. Like every day I have off, I want to go out and explore, but I've got to get the house together. I've got to get this together, By the time I'm done with everything, it's already like it's dark by 4:30 and it's like, God. So, I just want to do like more stuff locally and just explore the community around. Luckily, I mean, Colorado Obstacle Racers, they're a huge group that gets together, and they're a pretty large group that gets together and does a lot of fun things like rucking and little events of their own. So I'm probably going to do that. But I've been racking my brain about having a big goal in mind that's pretty reachable, but I didn't come to that conclusion until this past weekend, which I'm still rolling it around in my head. So I'm not going to say it quite yet because it's technically for 2021. So I'm going to save that for that year. But everything that I do this year will be in pursuit of that ultimate goal.
Nice.
So,
I'd like to say, how awesome is it that we have such choice? Like to say, I have to limit myself to 12 race weekends a year.
Right.
And that's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
It's a good problem.
It's really awesome.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, it's rough because I pulled up my schedule for 2020 because I went through and looked at last year, which was insane. And next year I was like, we're definitely not racing this much. And I look at May and it's like race weekend, Memorial Day. So it's like, great. My weekends off are like the major holidays where there's no races. So and the interesting thing about this sport is you can run every weekend if you really want to, and if you have the means to, but
like Josh,
right. Well, you guys have kids. We just have bills from traveling. So it's like,
the trade-off.
Yeah, I'm not banking any money here because we're flying everywhere this year. So, but for me, it's like we've used it as a way to go see parts of at least the country and parts of the world. Like we went to London this year for OCR Worlds that we would never have gone to do otherwise. So it's a good excuse to go out and sort of explore parts of the U.S. that we've never seen. Like, we're huge fans of Texas. We go to Texas multiple times every year, and I'm psyched that Toughest Mudder is there. Utah is going to be a staple on our calendar every single year, I think, because Utah's gorgeous. And we'll constantly find, like, I definitely want to go out to Montana because Montana looks like an amazing course.
It does look awesome.
So we're going to continue to see what we can see out there, and it's a means to an end, I guess. If it helps us travel and see some places, great. And if nothing else, it helps us kind of stay connected to the community, because no matter where we go, we're running into one of y'all out there. So
my goals are going to be the same as last year. The ones I didn't get, at least. I'd like to be able to do a handstand. Just want to work on like upper body in general, because I've never been strong with grip strength or any of that stuff. And I also want to focus more on speed a little bit more, taking a break from endurance, just because World Toughest Mudder takes a lot out of me mentally before and physically after. So I want to do more stadium races and train to be faster and see what I can do with that. I'd like to keep my band for OCR WC 3K. That's something like Josh does every year, but like I really want to keep my band. I think that'd be awesome.
I friggin' lost mine. I ended up keeping it in. The only thing I kept it this year in is the team event. And I was super happy to come home from London, and I lost it somewhere on course for the Dallas Ultra. I think when I was like pulling off my gloves, it must have flown off. Like 15 miles into it, I looked down, I was like, I don't have my band anymore. So I don't even have anything to show for it.
So real quick, with a team event, what are your thoughts on if you kept your band, but your teammate lost their band? Should you keep your band? Does that count at all?
Well, let me give you my firsthand experience. So this year in London, we had Molly was on strength. Yeah, Molly was on strength, but they had a couple very technical obstacles in there. She did not keep her band. We had Darren on speed. Darren kept his. We had me on technical. I kept mine. The only thing that I think they should adjust is that final obstacle, the wall. Mm-hmm. I think you should have to get all three people over the wall. Like Adrian came and said, if you get over the wall and you still have your band, you keep your band. So if the team throws one person over the wall, I could have kept it. So I kind of think that the whole team should have to make it over that.
I thought that was
Yeah, so I think a little revision on that might be nice. But other than that, I don't really have any issues with it, especially now since they are putting challenging enough obstacles on every single leg.
Yeah.
I think you got some people doing strength just because they wanted to go do something and get a band. So I think you should push them one way or another. So we'll see.
Yeah, strength also had Valkyrie for North American Championships, and I lost my band real quick on that one.
Yeah.
So
Mike, you and I, we should hold each other accountable for like a pull-up challenge throughout the year. So we'll find something.
Definitely. And something related to dealing with heights too, so we can get you prepared for World Toughest Mudder.
Agreed.
I know what that's like.
Yeah, I just hope to see more team obstacles. Like in Worlds, didn't they have or was that last year where they had the thing where it was like a stretcher and you had to load the balls on it? Like that was something more than just a wall. And then NORAM, everybody had to go through Urban Sky. So seeing just more obstacles that the whole team has to do together. Like if you've ever gone to a Concord Gauntlet and done their team race, they got some really crazy team challenges more than obstacles, and it's fun. But so just something that involves everybody at the same time.
Heard good things about that race, so I want to check it out.
I bet they don't have a spear throw.
No, they don't. I don't think they have a team race anymore.
Hey, if you go up to Northman in Canada, they have an axe throw. So everybody's got their
I saw
thing.
that.
You should do a marble race, and then you have a shield throw.
Spartan Spartan in Europe in their winter races has a snowball toss. So it's like everybody's got a thing.
That's fun.
A snowball fight, last man standing.
Greek Peak, man. Come on up, Scotty.
Mike, I don't know how often you actually do like strength training, but if you every time you do, you should be doing pull-ups if you're not. And you should be doing pull-ups all the time anyway. So
I should. Yeah, this year has also been tough with like looking for a house, finally moving. Like that took
you
a while.
have a house, so put a pull-up bar in there.
Exactly. So I gotta get on that.
In that drop ceiling that Jason can't understand.
He hates my drop ceiling. All right. Well, as much as I'd love to talk to you guys for hours, I think we should start to wrap this up. If we could go around and say the name of your show, where they could find it, and a couple episodes that were some of your favorite from the year for people to check out.
Yeah, I'll start. So Obstacle Discourse with Davis and Chase, find it on just about any podcast player that's out there. Spotify, I think, is my favorite and easiest one to access. My favorite episode is March 28th. I even know the date. If you go back to it, it's after the San Antonio race, actually, where I just went off on a complete tangent about cheaters. If you like a little bit of controversy, go ahead and listen to that one.
I remember it.
We have a handful of, I think, great episodes out there. If you're a fan of Marvel, listen to the earlier half of the year. If you're not a fan of Marvel, listen to the later half. But you can find me on social media at Josh and HD. Matt Davis, obviously, at Obstacle Racing Media. And shameless plug, if you want to jump on the Discord with us, it's a new audience, so check it out. The website is bit.ly/OCR chat. We're all there.
Awesome. All right, Scott?
Yeah, mine is I'm a Spartan OCR podcast. You can find us on iTunes. And another one that I like to listen to is what is it, Overcast? Is it Overcast FM or Overcast?
Yep, Overcast.
That's the one I always use, like if I'm on a desktop, because you can control the speeds, and you can actually go like a touch over 1.5 speed. So it's actually really cool.
That's the player that you use.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the computer, I use iTunes otherwise, like if I'm in a car. And probably my favorite episode was probably talking to Chris Mendoza, man. That guy's he's real easy to talk to.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Jason, Anna?
Dan, I want to hear yours first.
My favorite episode is obviously the April Fool's episode.
That's a given.
So
that was so much fun. That was so much fun to record.
I laughed my ass off at that episode.
I loved how when you got to, I don't know if it's the first time you met Heather, but like you face to face with Heather and be like, I'm the one that did your voice.
Yeah, I'm basically you.
I think that was at Worlds, huh? At the
at the Airbnb. Yeah.
Well, my favorites were obviously the April Fool's episode, and I didn't even bother to say it. We're OCR Talk.
Yep.
Recently, in addition to the OCR Report Network news media network.
Now your logo has color.
You'll get it.
No, but we're not entirely sure what that's going to mean for next year, and I'm actually hoping to chat about that a little bit offline for some more of this episode. But we did one episode that was called Deep Discussions Across the OCR Universe. It was back in February. It was episode 25 back in February. And I drank a lot, and we just talked for like 2 hours. And it ended up being really long, but it was the first episode where I started putting in some music into our episode, and it just made it like really fun. And ever since,
you're pretty snockered.
Ever since we've tried to have like these, we try to not try to, but we have little life moments or little fun, heartfelt moments, and then we'll throw some music in, and it just makes it more exciting. So I've learned to dial back the amount of editing I do, so it doesn't take quite as long. So there you hear more ums in our sentences, but I can add a little bit more like that, like the flair with the drum rolls and all that crap. So that editing? One, yeah, that one and the April Fool's one was obviously April 1st, episode 29. Not my favorite, partly because obviously all the stuff we did on it, but getting to re-record that intro, I've been wanting to do that for a long time because I hired a guy on Fiverr to do it, and have him just say every single acronym for all the OCR podcasts that I can think of, and then he did that really long talk at the end of it, which was really awesome.
I specifically.
If you don't like mud gear, fuck you.
I specifically remember, like, New Year's Day, everyone was talking about your episode, and I'm like, man, I put so much effort into the whole like Hunter McIntyre prank thing, and then I listened to your episode. I'm like, yeah, you guys win. You guys, like, that could not be beat. That was incredible.
Yeah, but you put some. I mean, that was some work you put into cutting that episode. That was pretty awesome.
That was fun.
Dude, I actually thought that was a real interview at first.
A lot of people
I'm
thought
not
that was real.
shitting you. I felt like an idiot because at the end of it, I was like, oh, that was the April Fool's episode. You got me. You got me.
Yeah.
I had fun with it. So Obstacle Running Adventures here. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Favorite episodes, I'd have to say, definitely North American Championships, World Toughest Mudder episodes, but two of the ones that stand out that are different than what we usually do is I had Mark Jones on to talk about how Tough Mudder owed him a lot of money. That was our biggest episode we've ever had. That's a good one. And I also had someone on the show, Jason Moselle, who goes by Jason Mosey, who did burpees for 12 hours, real burpees, to raise awareness for veteran suicide. And that was a really, really good episode. So, yeah.
I thought your World Toughest Mudder episodes were the best. I thought it had like the best coverage over all the podcasts to me. It was great.
I worked my ass off for that one. That was a lot of fun to do. And it's such a great event. I'm glad that we all got to experience that.
The pit interviews, those are really cool. I enjoyed that.
I despise editing that because it's all like muffled garbage. And I'm like, I have to make this somewhat cohesive, but I don't want to edit it so much that like it takes away from the fact that it is chaos. But I think for someone that's never gone to a World's Toughest Mudder, like that chaos, the people crying in the background, and like that is what it's like to be there. And it's just really fun to get that experience.
Mike, I loved hearing the different aspects that you did of it because y'all had, the pit stuff. You had your pits, like you in the pit, and you would hear like me in the background, and then like Jacob Brosecker coming in, like all these different array of people. But then you also had the brunch, and then you had Javier drunk in Waffle House, and you also had Caitlin and Mark and April talking about pit stuff. Like it really covered a wide variety of things that cover that whole event, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it was huge.
I rubbed
Nutsack Duplessis.
You look like a ball sack.
That was hilarious.
Just wait till you see him after 40 or 50 miles next year. And by the way, if Duplessis doesn't get 50 miles after his ridiculous take that people that don't get 50 miles shouldn't be finishers, that boy,
slap him around.
That boy better hit that 50-mile mark, or I'm going to rip the bib off his neck.
You put that headband down.
That was a bold statement, wasn't it?
Super bold.
Super bold.
Completely understand that when people don't get 50. That when he said that, I'm like, no one's gonna side with him there. Any final thoughts on 2019? Thoughts for 2020?
Mike, add to your goals for 2020 to get your ass on the Mud Run Guide Best of OCR Awards. And Scott, they can spell
what a crock of shit.
You know what the worst thing about that is that I made it on in 2017 when I had a fraction of the listeners that I have now. And now that I'm doing better than I've ever been, I mean, I can always do better, but I just didn't make an effort. I just recorded like a last minute, hey, make sure you vote for us, whatever.
You should
use my vote for Mike.
Yeah, because maybe he actually thinks you're another podcast because we all have the same names pretty much. So
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, I think you're the Spartan Up Mike podcast.
Spartan Up Mike.
Right? I swear, if Spartan Up makes it on there again, I'm going to lose my fucking mind again.
We'll see. Well, this time, Thursday, we'll know who lands where. So
we'll rage then.
Good luck to everybody.
Awesome. All right.
I'd say just overall, I'm excited for where this is continuing. I mean, like I said, I'm scaling back, but I'm not less excited about everything that's happening. I mean, the sport is continuing to grow and get better, and as much as we complain about things that are going on and we don't like, they do change and morph and become something else. And we complain about something different, or we like what's happening. So it's just continuing to grow and get better, and I'm super pumped to continue on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right. The end.
Did we nail that finally?
I think so. That'll work.
Nice.
All right, cool.
Y'all.
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 Is that our mic test? No, our mic test should be the sound that Jason makes. Yeet, yeet.
And then here he was howling.
The
like
old-
a wolf.
Put your mask on.
I'm not putting my mask on.
My
I think it's
girlfriend
the
hates it when his kid does that.
Yeah.
I don't need a horn. Just roll down the window and go, yee yee.
Josh, what
What
is
is it?
your sound going to be for World's Toughest Mudder so we know you're coming?
What is my what going to be?
Oh, you gotta have like a call.
Your noise. Your call.
I don't know, but
Hell.
I've got 320 days to think about it. Not that I'm counting.
That's true.
You'll see Josh coming from a mile away.
That's also
Like a
true.
giraffe.
I'll just get one of those like LED stick figure outfits. That way you can see me.
Yeah.
There was someone with
Yeah.
one.
Awesome. Really?
Yes. Yeah, somebody at Mutterhorn had one for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was somebody walking around the venue. Well, before I left, I saw him. It was pretty funny looking.
Scott, I'm so disappointed I didn't get to interview you before you left. I really
I
wanted
know.
to hear what you thought about World's Toughest Mudder.
Dude,
Everybody
you
kicked him
brought
off the
this stuff on
pyramid
court.
for pouring vegetable oil on the ropes.
It was. I tried my best not to pour it on the ropes. That was Kyle. Kyle come up there, and
Yeah.
that's what he did.
Yeah, I
He
saw
poured it
Kyle
right
and
on
Clinton go up there and pour it on the ropes. I was like, y'all are
Yeah.
just mean.
Yeah, I was
They made a
trying to
meme about
avoid
Scott,
that.
too.
Caitlin, you could have went out there and walked to the obstacle and recorded him while he's out there.
Oh, yeah. That would have been a great idea.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
why I'm doing pit and media next year, because I'm gonna just have fun and
It's
Make-
not easy when you have so many athletes. The times.
you forget that I pitted back in Vegas.
But you-
I
So what
know
are you
it's-
saying, Mike? You can do a better job than Caitlin? Is that what you're saying?
Did you
Oh.
get Javier third place?
Mike's gonna pit for me and Molly and Caitlin and
I don't think-
Duplessis.
I don't think I
Mark.
knew Molly was doing it, but yeah, I'm 100%. I'm gonna make sure you guys get to your goals. Like,
You're the new Mark the Pluses April and
I'm the new
nice
Pitbull.
ones, and you're like, nope, get your ass out of here. Let's go.
Mike's the new pit bull.
yeah.
Pitbull.
I don't have any desire to run World's Toughest Mudder, but man, I want to come out
Dude.
there and just hang out, volunteer.
Bro,
or
you
something.
do
It's
so much
fun.
ultras,
I know, dude.
and you're good at the
also-
ultras.
But that wetsuit running and worrying about getting frostbite, that's just not my. That's not.
There
my
ain't
thing.
no frostbite. You put on enough stuff and wear some damn neoprene socks, and you will be fine.
Yeah, tell that to Chris Mendoza. He's doing.
I don't know what his problem is. Why doesn't
Thank
he
you,
wear
Mike.
neoprene socks?
Thank
Yeah, that's true.
Because he didn't have us as a pit crew, so he wasn't properly ready to go.
Right?
It's
Should we get a
too
response from
badass
Heather
to
yet?
deal
Yeah.
with neoprene socks.
Yeah, what a bozo.
you.
So how much longer should we wait for Heather before we kind of get into it?
I say we
Well, she
go.
can
It's
just-
7 minutes in.
Yeah, she can jump in.
Can you?
Ooh, look at Josh with a snazzy Spartan.
So I'll have you guys know that
Water
Caitlin's
bottle.
not supposed to be
It's
talking
Molly's.
right now because doctor's orders.
Okay, guys, I'm leaving.
You're not
Hi,
supposed to
Caitlin.
talk? Oh.
Oh, because
She's been screaming at Mike all week and she lost her voice.
That's
do
why.
the laundry
No, it was empty the dishwasher.
and do the dishwasher.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was
not
empty
supposed to
the
be
dishwasher.
talking. So, bye, guys. Have fun.
Hi,
Oh,
Caitlin.
better,
Like,
Caitlin.
actually kicking me out.
I am.
Bless her heart.
Well,
Bless her heart.
Oh, I'm
this
broken.
is going to turn into a mess anyway. Too many of us in here.
I hope I have enough room on my computer to save whatever this giant file it will spit
Oh,
out.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think I'm recording.
Somebody's recording because I see an icon. in the top
I'm definitely
corner.
recording.
Yeah,
I just
Josh-
haven't,
Yeah.
I haven't tested it before, like when because it
Okay.
says the file will appear when you finish. So,
Yeah,
but it'll
so-
do both video and audio.
Once you exit it out after, it should have like an MP. It has some like weird file that I always have to convert, but
MP4.
I'm just doing
probably.
like a snag it, so I'm like doing a screen capture.
okay,
Hopefully
excellent.
that works.
Snag it. That sounds cool.
Let me get
Yeah.
to my notes.
Snag
Kayla,
the
can you shut the
screen.
door?
Snag it. That's the technical term.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's the way we use at work. When I want to
Mike, why are you upside down? Seriously.
I don't.
When I went to join, it says like, "Do you want to rotate this?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm going upside down, and now I can't upside down myself.
It's upside down. It's kind of cool. It's like you get that 50 Cent vibe going.
Yeah.
I'm putting a hole in my notes here.
All right. So since we do have a big group of people, I feel like we need to like establish an order of like which way to
You
go
said
around.
that you were going to be the
Manager,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for
Man
me.
with
But
the
like
plan.
when we have
captain
like
of this ship.
sure to steer us in good direction. But we'll go like around in order. We'll have like, let's see. Just gonna go in order of what we have here. We'll have Josh go first. Scott joined after that. We'll have Anna, and then Jason, and myself, and Heather if she joins.
Shit, am I gonna have to remember this?
We'll just
Do I need to take notes?
you're after Josh. We'll go through that way.
I got my pen.
Scott, how long is? Never mind. I'll save questions.
All right, so we'll get right into it.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys.
Nice cold close there.
Yeah.
And we're done.
That's it. I didn't have anything written for like the very end. I'm like, I don't know.
You didn't have a joke?
Yeah, funny joke, inspirational quote.
Mike, why don't you tell us a joke and we'll all not laugh?
I actually did just hear. I did just read a new joke. So Frankie was just in the hospital. He had an oxygen mask on, and he goes, "Are my testicles black?" And the nurse picks up his penis, his testicles. She goes, "No, they seem normal to me."
This joke.
He takes off his oxygen mask and goes, "Well, thanks for that. I appreciated that. But I asked if my test results are back." I told that to Caitlin. Just nothing but a dirty look. That's to be expected. But
Yikes.
awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to call, though. It's awesome seeing you guys.
Yeah, man.
And it's gonna be an awesome 2020.
Hopefully this actually recorded and we didn't just spend an hour and a half talking.
So when you close out of this, Josh,
Fingers crossed.
a progress bar should pop up, and since this has been like well over an hour, it's going to take a long time. Don't do anything on your computer until that's done.
Okay.
My computer can't handle it, so.
I would just like to add that I really appreciate the relationship and the friendships that us as podcasting in this community has just brought us closer together. And I think it's fun. I love running into y'all at the races when I do see y'all. And I just feel like we can all kind of, fuck with each other because, we, are good friends and we all can mess with each other and everybody takes a joke well. And I just think that's a cool relationship to have with friends.
Yeah. I always say like, we don't compete with each other, but like, I genuinely don't. Like, it's not like that, oh, I'm just so much better than you guys. It's just like, we're all trying to do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and we all have
I just do it for fun.
Yeah. If you're not enjoying it, you're doing it wrong. So.
And Matt's continuously got people, somebody upset with him at some point or another, but the rest of us seem like it's just, everybody's all friends with each other and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave that to Matt. Let Matt get people angry with him.
That's because it's a career for Matt. For us, it's just a hobby. So.
That's the difference there.
So.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Declan, you want to say hello?
No.
Bye.